Magandang umaga mga bata. This is your teacher Andy for our Bookkeeping is Made Easy. This week, tayo po ay magkakameron ng tinatawag nating intervention and remediation para po dun sa sabihin natin ay medyo nahirapan sa ating subject na bookkeeping. And ang mga videos na ito ay tatalakay tungkol sa chart of accounts, sa journalizing, the preparation of general journal, the preparation also of general ledger, and the preparation of the different financial statements. Pero bago yon, simulan muna natin ang ating araw sa pagtuklas kung paano ba mapapadali ang panggagawa natin ng chart of accounts. So sabi nga natin, sisimplihan na lang natin. Ano po? Basic na yung bookkeeping natin, pero mas lalo pa natin pasisimplihan para mas madali nating matutunan. Ano ba ang chart of accounts? So in short, this is the listings of all the accounts. Ano ba yung mga accounts na yan? There is also a need for us to classify them as asset. Under ng asset, may tinatawag tayong current assets. At ang mga samples niyan, yung mga cash account, account receivable, inventories, prepaid supplies, etc. Next to that, we have non-current assets. Ano naman ito mga ito? We have there the land, the building, the furniture and fixture, and equipment. Pag sinabi kasi natin non-current assets, sila ba yung nakukonsumo ng business ng long term? Unlike dun sa current asset natin, nakukonsume siya ng business for a short period of time. Next to that, we have the liability accounts. Sample nito, yung accounts payable, mga withholding tax, SSS payables, at lahat po ng mga payables. Mga utang ng negosyo mo. Okay po? Then, next to that, we have the owner's equity, or tinatawag din nating owner's capital. Inilalagay din po dyan o sinasama yung tinatawag nating withdrawals or the drawings of the owner. Next, we have the revenue accounts. Tumutukoy po ito sa lahat ng income ng business. Tulad po nung halimbawa natin, we have the service income, the professional fees, interest incomes, and all other incomes. And lastly, we have the expense accounts. Ito naman po yung lahat ng kagastusan sa business. Sample po nito ang cost of sales, the rent expense, taxes and licenses expense, and other expenses. In the making of the chart of accounts, you need to analyze the given transactions carefully. Then, you need to identify the value received. Yan po yung tinatawag natin mga debit accounts. And the value parted with, yan naman yung tinatawag natin credit accounts. Let's try this. So, from the given business transactions, you need to identify the different affected accounts. Ito yung value received and the value parted with. For transaction number 1, Mrs. Chu was started a grocery store. She invested 200,000 as initial investment. Analyze po natin. Nang si Mrs. Chua ay magtayo ng negosyong grocery store at naglagak siya o naglaan siya ng 200,000 pesos, ano ba ang pumasok or tinanggap ng business na yon? Ano ang pumasok doon? Timbangin po natin ano ang mga sinabi doon sa business transaction. Nag-open ng store. Siyempre, pag na-open ng store, kailangan mo ng capital. And na-invest, ang isang kapital ay mananatiling kapital kung hindi mo siya gagamitin. So, naglabas ka ng pera. So, ano-ano ang mga naandyan dapat? Alamin natin. So, mamaya, ano po? For transaction number 2, she registered her business paying 500 pesos for registration fee. So, andyan, kita na natin agad. Ano ang binayaran? The registration fee. Ano ang binayad? Pera na naman. So, there is a cash. For transaction number 3, she paid 12,000 for store rent applicable for 1 year. Ibig sabihin, advance yung payment niya para sa rent. So, nagbayad siya ng cash and then, ano pa, ang binayaran? Yung rent. So, dahil ay advance, tinatawag natin yung prepaid rent. Okay po? For transaction number 4, she purchased merchandise for sale amounting to 200,000, paying 150,000 with a balance to be paid after 60 days. So, bumili siya ng kanyang mga paninda na nagkakahalaga ng 200,000 pesos. Pero, ang binayaran niya ay 150,000 lang. At yung natitirang balanse ay babayaran niya within 60 days or 2 months. So, ano po ang mga accounts na naririto? May cash, of course. And, ano yung pumasok nung siya'y bumili ng mga paninda? Di mga paninda, so meron tayong merchandise. Then, anong sabi natin kanina? May balanse siya, meaning may utang. So, 3. For number 5, she paid 1,000 for the transportation of the merchandise purchase. Alin daw ang binayaran? Pamasahe ng mga paninda niya. So, anong binayaran? Transportation expense. Anong ipinambayad? Cash ba? O inutang ba niya to? So, walang sinabing inutang. So, identify natin na cash automatically ang ibinayad. For number 6, she sold 100,000 worth of merchandise for 160,000 for cash. Ibig sabihin, nakabenta daw siya ng halagang 100,000 worth of merchandise. Pero napalabas niya itong 160,000 for cash. Ano po? So, nakatanggap siya ng cash. Then, basta nagkameron ng bentahang naganap, whether it is utang or in cash, automatically we're going to have an income account. Ang normal balance po ng income natin ay credit. Lagi po siya nasa credit side. At ganun din yung capital po ng owner natin. Sila po ang normal balance ay sa credit din. Okay pa? For number 7, she sold 20,000 worth of merchandise for 35,000 on account. Nakabenta daw ng 20,000 worth of merchandise pero sa halagang 35,000 siya. Ngunit utang. So, anong tinanggap? May cash ba? Wala, kasi utang. Binanggit ba kung sino ang nangutang? Wala, walang sinabing pangalan. So, you're going to use accounts receivable. Okay po? And, nagkameron ng bentahan, subalit utang, ano ang sabi natin laging katambal niya na isusulat natin sa credit side? Automatically, you're going to have the credit account na income. Okay po? For number 8, she paid business taxes amounting to 4,650 during the month. Ano ang binayaran? Business tax. Anong ipinambayad? Cash ba o inutang? So, dun pa lang, identify nyo na ano yung mga affected accounts dun sa sinabi natin na transaction. For number 9, she paid 2,000 electricity expense during the month. So, ano daw ang ginawa? Nagbayad ng halagang 2,000 pesos para sa electricity expense. So, anong mga accounts ang involved dito? Meron tayong electricity expense. Sinabi bang inutang? Hindi. So, common sense, ano yung binayad sa electricity expense? So, meron ulit tayong cash. And for the last one, for transaction number 10, she paid the salary of her sales lady amounting to 5,000. Anong meron? Binayaran daw niya ang sahod ng kanyang sales lady. Magkano? 5,000 pesos. So, ano ang mga affected accounts dyan? So, meron tayong salary expense. Anong ibinayad? Cash ba o inutang yung sahod? Cash. Okay. So, ganun lang po kasimple. So, balikan natin. For transaction number 1, what are the affected accounts? When Mrs. Chua started a grocery store, she invested 200,000 as initial investment. So, merong cash at meron ding capital. Next, for transaction number 2, she registered her business paying 500 for registration fee. Anong meron? Registration expense and cash. Next, for transaction number 3, she paid 12,000 per store rent applicable for 1 year. So, meron siyang prepaid rent and cash. For transaction number 4, she purchased merchandise for sale amounting to 200,000, paying 150,000 with a balance to be paid after 6 days. So ano-ano ang mga affected accounts natin dito? Merchandise, cash, and accounts payable. For transaction number 5, she paid 1,000 for the transportation of the merchandise purchased. Meron tayong transportation expense. At syempre, may cash din. For transaction number 6, what are the affected accounts? She sold 100,000 worth of merchandise for 160,000 for cash. May cash and income. For transaction number 7, what are the affected accounts again? She sold 20,000 worth of merchandise for 35,000 on account. So we have accounts receivable and income. For transaction number 8, she paid business taxes amounting to 4,650 during the month. So, anong meron? We have the tax expense and cash. For transaction number 9, she paid 2,000 electricity expense during the month. So, meron tayong electricity expense and cash. For transaction number 10, she paid the salary of her sales lady amounting to 5,000. Meron tayong salary expense and cash. Remember class na tayo po ay basic bookkeeping lamang. So yung ilang mga expenses po dun sa higher level na po ng bookkeeping, which is accounting na talaga, may iba na yung tawag nila dyan. Tinatawag na yung utility expense, yung sa mga electricity, so water bill, yung telephone bills. Yan po ay parang sinasama na sa utility expenses. So, let's do this. From the affected accounts, do your listing of your chart of accounts. So, ang gagawin ninyo, mula dun sa mga affected accounts, isa-summarize nyo siya. Ililista nyo lang siya. Following the order of the needed entries in our chart of accounts. Una yung assets, susundan ng liabilities, susundan na owner's equity, then the income, then the expenses, and revenue muna, and then expenses. Sa-summarize nyo lang. Hindi na uulitin. Halimbawa, si cash, sa bawat transaction ay may cash na, isa lang po ang ililista natin sa chart of account. Okay po ba yan? So, yun po ang unang gagawin ninyo, ang maglista sa inyong chart of accounts. Okay pa? Good luck!